Okay, a quick part two on the the GEB model, the one that we're about to put back together again. Just couldn't get that oscillator swing, and measured the caps in there. No, they were fine, and they should have been, the more I thought about it. And guess what the problem was? The clarifier control. Now have a look at this as I sit here with my... This is it's very intermittent. As I'm spinning it, it gets nothing, then it sort of... well, I'm just trying to do this one-handed. Come on, that's it. Turn. Yeah, you'll get a little bit of something in the meg ohms. Look at that. 16, 15 meg ohms, then it goes down, and then it drops out completely. Alright, so let's show a new control. Okay, so this is a replacement control I've had to steal, and we're finding that is, apart from my little jittery bits here, that is registering a lot better, as in the like how a 50k ohm pot should read. Once I get it back in the spot here. Oh, I just knocked my lead off. Going well here. Anyway, you get the idea. That when your pot is faulty... Hang on, let me put this lead back on. I just threw away one of my crocodile clips because it was bothering me. It's so much I think it's got intermittent, but there we go. As you can see, it's just winding its way up. I'm sort of trying to do this very slowly, but I'm just on the small increment control. So that was our problem, that was causing the oscillators to be a little bit out. So, you know, and the truth is you'll never swing it back on the receive side. You'll make the transmit side look alright, but you'll never swing the receiver back when one of these is faulty. So I've got to put this in now, after all that. But then I think we can finally call this finished. Yeah, I just wanted to... I left it a little bit open-ended, and I thought, you know what, it wasn't what I thought it was, so I owe it to you guys to tell you what it really was. So this one here in the bin, hope we threw the right one away. This one here goes into the radio. Okay, so now we've got our little test radio, I call this, on dummy load at the moment. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 1 2. Okay, so, and we've got to clarify that now 1 2 1 2, it slides around and does what it should do. 1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, which is good. And equally so, dummy load to dummy load. 1 2 3 4 5. Oh, hang on, I've got to adjust something here still. Hang on. Okay, so what CT 202 is just a little bit out there. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, and we just hear ourselves are coming through on that one there. Sometimes we'll use an off-air receiver for a lot of different reasons. Our test equipment, whilst calibrated and whilst is is lovely, we're really using a BFO on the test equipment. So when we adjust the BFO, we can get it fairly accurate, but there's nothing like listening to it by your ear and then just checking your oscillator once again with your 10.0525 and the 10.692 and 695 to make sure you're correct. But once you've got them adjusted up, 1 2 3 4 5 1 2, and now we're actually getting this thing to receive and transmit on the same frequency, which on the last video we didn't have. As you remember, we were about 200 hertz off, and I said I'd go replace one of these fellas here. And the truth is, no, that wasn't the issue. That would have been more an issue if it had been on the transmit side. What it was actually we were having an issue on the receive side, and something was throwing it out, and it was the 10 meg ohms that was looking at on the pot instead of 50k. So yeah, just a bit of a follow-up on this one. Now we'll put it back together again, and for about the third time, but a lot happier with it now because we're and don't get me wrong, I'm just about to just go with one final run through, check each oscillator, check everything that's upper, lower, etc., make sure we're 100% right. Very easy to get wrong sometimes. Sometimes you'll forget the receive side or you'll forget the transmit, to get it actually on both sidebands. So just remember to check your oscillators. And this one's been a bit of a curly one, actually. I must admit, I never expected to see a 10 meg ohm, sort of problem at the clarifier. Haven't seen one of those go faulty before. They're generally pretty reliable. So anyway, it does happen. Okay, so now I'm happy to say all back together, and nice to have a clarifier that works a bit better than a 10 meg ohm problem. And that's the great thing sometimes about having a radio like this sitting on dummy load. I mean, I know it's a modified TS440, But the fact that we've got it going into dummy load and we just use it for that reason, it allows me to do checks all over the band. Like, it doesn't matter where I go, whether it's CB, whether it's Flying Doctor, where, whatever it is, I can have a listen and I can transmit a signal back into it. So don't be too concerned about the legality. There's entirely legal, if you've got a scientific license, to have a modified all-band radio to be able to transmit and test with. Obviously not legal to put that onto an antenna and transmit to the world on CB radio. Quite legal to use it on 40 metres, 80 metres if you've got a ham license. So just to clarify, I don't normally show that side of it, but I thought, for today's example, it actually helps a lot just to see that when you're sort of practically wanting to just quickly check things, sometimes your test equipment is not your fastest way. Sometimes I can learn a lot more just going, what can I hear on that radio, what's it doing, and then working from there. All right, well, I'm really happy with this now. I wasn't completely at the end of the last video, but I am very happy with it now. I'm so happy that I haven't put the 4 screws on one side and the 4 screws on the other. I'm so happy that I'm thinking I just want to run it a little bit longer and make sure that we're 100% where we need to be. But it would be nice to get someone on air test, actually, just for the final sort of look at it. But unfortunately, I did call and nobody out there, which is not unusual for Tangambalanga, Northeast Victoria. Well, on that point, thanks very much for hanging in with me on part 2 of the GEB model. And who would have thought, unreal. By the way, that pot, it was so intermittent that at times it was actually giving you a clarifier response. Yes, it was a little bit deceiving in the fact that you really needed to measure it to find out, to see that erratic sort of resistance that was being shown on it. And once it started playing up really bad, look, you saw it on the meter quite well. All right, GEB model part 2 finished. 8 screws to go back in, and that can go as part of the collection to show people what a GEB model is, I suppose. Geez, I'll tell you what, we've certainly done enough time on this one. I don't think I want to see another GEB model, but unfortunately I've got to look at some other GEB models because they're stacking up around me, as you can see, and I need to get them sorted and sort out what we're doing with them. But this will be our display one. It's come up really nice, so I think the rest of them can wait for another day somehow. I'm buggered. All right, 7-3. Thanks for having a look at part 2. All the best.